So yeah, hello my dear friends on the internet and welcome to another session. We will start from where we left off. I was busy for a couple of weeks, so yeah, I couldn't was trying by then. But I had changed a couple of things, not that much, just some variables on the magic values that we're currently using. We'll get things organized when all things are together. But yeah, things are looking not bad. We still need to work on the FPS, but from the current one, not that bad. Render quality is also quite good. Yeah, you can keep on working on it. I don't have much time today. Code it fast. Um, and also I had to disable Copilot because I'm having some issues paying from my credit card on the Meta website. I don't know what's really happening, but it's fine. So yeah, we can start with creating a new file, which will essentially be holding the code for our first editing. Like, and that file we use, that file we will be using in editor. So yeah, that might work. So let's add something. We'll call this text edit dot HTTP. Now, in theory, this header only practice is not that good, but doesn't matter. We can always refactor things. Right? So yeah, let's include let's first pragma once, and maybe include vector, which will throw some error, but we can get rid of it. Yes, then we can namespace maybe. Yes, which namespace we were using, but hoping that it's namespace as we. Yeah. So so that compiler version error, we need to fix that. Maybe copy the tag from that other files. I think details at that line, or maybe not. Render details should have. Oh, I opened the UI file. So the thing right here will clean. Alright. Damn. One is no longer there, the error is no longer there. Is the one only the warning that we are not using it. And yeah, keep on including stuffs that we need as we need. Not as we need, but as we need. And yeah, we are using the instance recipe, so it should be fine. Mm, We can close this panel for now and can focus on the basic stuff, right? So, yeah, so there are multiple ways of how we can edit and text, right? One of them being like using a gap buffer or maybe using some piecewise table, or we can even create a row data structure. And I would start with something simple, I guess. So we'll just have a bunch of gap buffers like this, and we'll be editing those gap buffers. Yeah, that sounds good. So let's start editing. We have a gap buffer, right? So if I can spell it right, and in this gap buffer, Mhm. Am I not live? I think I'm live. Mm, yes. Let me check once if I'm live or not. And by the way, I'm playing this one. So please don't throw a copyright claim or something like that. It's just for ambience. All credit goes to this guy. Yeah. So, am I live or I'm not? To change. Yeah, I'm live. How about that? Yeah. Anyways, I can focus on the work. So gap buffer will basically have some data. You can have like size, maybe like 4K should be good enough. 4090 or whatever. Uh, yeah, you can see that later. Or you can just simply say 4 times whatever the value is. You can have that buffer, right? The gap size. Right? And you can by default set this thing to 0. So you can zero out the whole buffer whenever we are instantiating a graph buffer. Now a gap buffer usually have like let's say gap start and a gap end. Set both to 0 for now. Um, yeah, that should work ideally for now. Now, the first thing I would like to do is let's say we want to move the cursor. Alright, we want to move, we want to append some text maybe. So maybe void append character or something like that. Right. Which will basically take the character that you have typed will append to the gap buffer. So usually what happens in a gap buffer is you append at the start of the gap, right? And that's how it typically works. I don't know, like I never write it. I have never written on. I know that it exists. So we'll see how it works, right? For now, all that I'm going to do is appending this character to the gap, right? So you can just say that whatever the gap start is there, mm, the value will be the character maybe. And then you can say gaps dot plus plus, or you can just try to be cool and you can say gaps like plus plus here. I either keep the code readable or just start plus plus, I guess. Right. Mm, And we also need to check if we have reached to the gap end. If we have reached to the gap end, it actually the gap end like when you are beginning, right? The gap end should be the gap buffer size -1. The entire buffer is empty, essentially. Right. So I can say that if gap start is equals to gap end, then most probably we have reached to the end of the buffer. The buffer is full. So we can have a boolean that is full maybe. You can say that it's normally false. because at the beginning it's an empty word, right? As we go on, it becomes true. Yeah. So you can say that okay, if gap start is equals to gap end, it means if gap is true, you can say that is true, right? So that's one thing. The second thing is that we might need to move the gap, right? So yeah, so we have identified move gap, and we can specify an index. Maybe. So in that index, what essentially happens is that let's say we have some text here, right? And then we have this gap, right? And then we have some other text at the end of the gap. So what we ideally want is, let's say I want to take my cursor at this position. So what we ideally want is take this text from here to the gap, this area, right? And we want to move this to the end, somewhere here, right? And that will cause the gap to reduce a bit. So that's how we are going to basically shift the gap, I guess, if that makes any sense. We can have this for a small diagram, I guess. We can work our way from there. So let's just do that. So first of all, when you're moving the gap, right, from gap, from the index to the gap start, whatever the data was, that needs to be copied, and that needs to be put at the from wherever the gap end to the length. So maybe first I will get the length. And we can say that we can just say that MV data length sorted. And that will be gap start. We will keep on filling steps as we go on. But for now, it will just be if the index is at less than gap size. So that also I need to check, right? So this is for the condition, I guess, if index, actually let's call this IDX. I like IDX quite a bit. So if IDX is less than the gap start, right? We can call this move cursor. That means, we can just go relative. Like we can have a plus or minus sign, and based on that we can do that calculation. We'll see that. For now, if our index is less than this, let's get this in, and let's set to data length is to 0 first, right? That's why not. And then I can say that yeah, I can say that if it's a gap start is less than is like greater than our IDX, the first case that we discussed, which is basically equivalent to doing this. Let's say we have this data here. Somewhat like this. So we are like this was the original position actually. So let's just copy this line. let's just be clear. So this is the first scenario, right? When our cursor is here, we essentially want to start the gap from there, right? So if gap start is greater than IDX, the first thing we would like to do is get that MD data length, right? Or we can do a cool thing actually. We can do something better than that. We can just say that in MD start length is data length is just our IDX minus our gap start, something like that maybe, or gap start minus IDX. Actually, let's go for gap start minus IDX minus gap start is fine. All right. Data set. Yes. So yeah, I need to think carefully. So here is our cursor, which is going to move, right? So if I minus and then my gap starts here, then first condition I want to keep this length positive, right? So that means my cursor is less than my gap start in this case. So it will be like gap start minus IDX. Yeah. This amount of data I need to move, right? And if gap start is equals to IDX, then most likely we don't need to do anything. So that might be the first case scenario where gap start is equals to IDX, right? We might simply return because we don't need to move the cursor. Otherwise, we have this move link, right? And we can put a condition in this. So if move length is positive, right? So in the data length is become 0, then we want to do something. And the exact thing we want to do is we want to get the data from this area to this area, right? We are exactly copying. So this- so destination should be basically our gap in minus MB data length. We can check that later. For now, we can go with this, I guess. And then yeah, then what you can do is you can have something like our this thing. So from the destination, I need to shift the data, right? So name copy or CPY, I think it's called name CPY. Takes destination, source, and size. So we have this, right? Where I want to put it. The source is obviously where our cursor should be. That is IDX. And the size is nothing but when the data, right? Most likely this is wrong, but you can check that. Now this getting that this function is not there, right? Because I think it includes fingertip. Or we need to include, let's say, just where exactly means name copy. It's not stipulate. One place is there. We can use that. Okay. Memory doesn't contain name copy. Where is main copy actually? Let's see. CPY. Uh, but if you include just string, because the high level library it should have that. Main copy is fairly one, but it's but header file. And the header file is algorithm. In C it's string.h. In C++, it's also in string.h. But then I getting that some weird kind of error. We had the right thing. What is this thing? No matching functions for name CPY line. Okay. But it should be in string.h. Main CPY. It's just here. Okay, I got it. Because main copy is going to take the pointers, right? So the first position will actually be our address of buffer and our destination, right? This is where it's going to move from our current cursor. So address of IDX, and we are going to move by this amount, right? So the move will be MV data length, right? Yeah, it works. And the end needs to be changed also. So end will come back. So gap end is going to be our like in this search track, right? So gap end minus equals to our this thing. So MV whatever. That begs a question. Yeah, we can answer that later. We have to maybe convert this to size t. Because maybe there might be some overflow. For move cursor, I don't care about that much right now. And gap start will be our new IDX, right? So that I think should work fine. We can try the opposite part, which is the else. And here, basically the situation is now reversed, right? Something like this. So, let's say we are here, right? And we wanted to move cursor to here. Uh, so in the first IDX, if it's less than gap start, right? But if it's more than gap start, if IDX is more than gap start, then ideally, like if I want to come here, right, and I want to edit, then I need to push this data from here if I want to edit. Right? So I'll be pushing this data to here, right? So in that case, if it's greater than the, if this value is negative, right, that means that we have crossed the gap size. This case, this is our essentially new edit point, right? So let's say -3 for now in this scenario. Now for -3, what we can do is we can first of all take that much data and shift it to the gap, right, start. And similarly, we can move the gap to that point, right? Yeah. So first, let's do that. So we will do this thing either way. But now, this time, our the start will be our gap start, right? Where you're going to move basically, right? And the amount, basically this thing, right? If it's -3, that means I need to move 3 characters. So this will obviously be minus as well. Yeah, point where I need to actually start moving is nothing but gap end is, let's say, here. From gap end, I need to go to this length, right? From gap end, I need to, let's say, go to this length, right? So essentially, I need to know. So it's essentially this length. Okay, it's negative. So this will not be IDX, but it will be gap end. Like you can have something like this, the size, which is nothing but minus move data length. So this will be just gap uh, end plus MB size, right? Let's use MB size here, maybe. With that, we have moved it. Now we need to change the gap start, which has now been forwarded by, let's say, so which has been forwarded to, let's say, like 3, right? No, sorry, MB size. And gap end has, so gap start has increased, and gap end has also increased, right? Plus equals to MB size. Now, from my experience, this will most probably not work. That is my way. I keep on debugging things, and from there, I keep on refining stuff. Writing code 100% perfect in one go, that's not my cup of coffee. So let's just have a simple UI to get things tested, right? Maybe we can have a simple test in main to test this gap buffer. Slash main right here. And for now, we can just for the sake of it, right? We have this whole business going on, right? We can just name this because I'm very lazy. We will just mm, actually I'm not bothered with the window, so just have the function here and slap there. So yeah, void this gap buffer. Once we have things in proper way, we will refactor the code and keep everything properly. We'll have different folders for files for testing and different files for implementation and this thing. Hello everyone, I'm from India. Bro. I'm currently in Bangalore. I thought that no one was here, but yeah, some people are here, which is actually quite exciting. I don't know. Like the OBS studio is somehow showing the data wrong. But yeah, hello. So yeah, let's test this guy. So let's say we have a gap buffer, right? And this gap buffer, we want to append some characters. So, for example, append, and we want to print this gap buffer as well. So maybe void print, and I can have a gap buffer, and you can print it like this. So for 6 to 0 is less than gb dot gap start a plus plus. Right. For now, let's keep the gap buffer size a bit small, maybe like just 128 characters without semicolon. Obviously. Yeah. So now we have this gap buffer, right? Type gap buffer p is not in namespace as p. It is not in namespace as it's clearly here. Say string, yeah, don't need this. Should be fine. It's called gap buffer underscore p. We'll see. So for now, in this part, right, we just want to print the characters, right? Print a percentile c and whatever the buffer is holding. So gap buffer. What are you doing? Are you in college? No, I am actually. Actually work at Bangalore. I work at a fintech company, and yeah, that's about it. That's why I don't like. I'm not able to stream often. And this is just a fun project. We are just trying to make a text editor kind of thing. So right now, what I'm trying to do is actually I'm trying to implement like the basic functionalities by which I will be able to edit the text most efficiently. Because if I have to like insert some character in some middle of the file, like from here, if I have to insert some character, like so if I use a regular buffer, every time I have to like copy the entire data from here to the end, to the absolute end of the buffer, and that will take a lot of performance. So what we will rather do is whatever the cursor of position is, from that position, all the text we will move to the end of the buffer so that we have some empty space here. You can see this example right here, right? So maybe I want to edit at this place, right? Edit at this place. So when I want to edit at this place, I want to shift this data to here, and then I can start typing from here because I know that this area is garbage data. Yeah, so that's it, and that's why probably I'm not clearing these as zeros as well because this gap start and gap end, this will basically maintain 2 pointers to the gap. This is a basic text editing algorithm. It's not like very high class algorithm like for example row purpose, but I don't want to right now write an AVL tree. So yeah, I'll go with that. Something like NVim? No, I'm actually writing something in as a graphics user interface. So I will see like it will have Vim bindings most likely, but yeah, we are rendering stuff using OpenGL. So this is just a fun project I have started doing side by side. Most likely, I will be doing something else in the next one. For now, I think I can do like this one. So yeah, my goal today is to have this gap buffer working. So when we have actual keyboard, we can take then the actual keyboard input and we can try to um, do that. I'll show you that in a moment. Actually, I'll show you. It's not that hard. Oh, I know why I'm getting this error because I have not included the gap buffer. Yeah. This file is called TextEdit, I guess. TextEdit.cpp. Actually, I should have called this edit text. Whatever it is. So, yeah, I'm going to basically print. Just give me some time. I'll show you the current progress. It's not that much because I'm a bit lazy, but we can deal with that. So, yeah. we're going to print this thing, right? Then from gap start to gap end, we probably want to print, sorry, actually, we should be doing it from here. So for gap start to gap end, right? So gap start to gb dot gap end. I would like to just print some dots, right? And then for the rest, right? So for the rest of the, oh yeah, for the rest, what I would like to do is uh, print the same thing that I'm doing here actually. Something like this, right? And this will be from gap into that whatever the max buffer size is, right? So gap and to gap. It's called gap exercise, right? So with yeah, caps lock is on. Now we can have some text inserted, right? So we can say gb dot append character maybe a, and then gb dot append character maybe b, right? And gb dot append character maybe c, right? Simple. We inserted three characters in our buffer, and then I want to just print it. If that makes any sense. And I just want to print it. The rest of the things I don't care for right now. So just this gap buffer. Yeah. Now I don't know, bro, if you're online or not because somehow the statistics is not picking up how many people are live. But Gaurav, if you are online, then it looks something like this. If this compiles successfully, obviously, it called then I named it build.bat. Yeah, we have some graphical user interface going on actually. This is the buffer, but the more of all what I'm interested in, not this, but this thing right here. So right, we have this ABC, then dot this thing, right? So it looks quite good, except that uh, I'm getting some unwanted characters as well, right? That I will have to check. But let's say right now I want to insert at one position, that is B, the value X, right? So that I will focus on. And also let's printf a inline. So ideally, this gap end, right? It should be this gap buffer size -1, right? Because we have gap buffer size of text there. So why did I get that and why I'm writing NL like this? It's just backslash, right? So yeah, we build this. Then I close it. This at the red symbol is bothering me. For now, I'll just make it as yes. And we'll see what did I mess up later. We should get rid of that unwanted symbol at least. Like this. Yeah. So we have this ABC and then we have this gap, right? So what I can do now is I want to insert X after A, right? And so what will happen is that AX will be at one side of the gap and BC will be at other side of the gap. Does it work? That is the question. So GB dot first of all we need to move the cursor, right? And we want to move the cursor to the second place, which is from 0 then 1. So 1, we'll just skip A. And then we want to insert. So will most likely fail, but then we'll fix it, right? So then after A, it should be X, then the gap, then it should be C, right? And you can also print the gap buffer here as well before we do that. So we'll have different states to check. So this is before we insert and this is after we insert, right? So with that, if we just build this thing, right, and we close this, we can see that DC has been moved to the end. Oh, it actually ran on the first try. That's nice. Usually things don't work that on the first try, right? And let's say if I just want to insert some more characters, like for example X, then maybe Y, then maybe Z, maybe right. If we do that, does it work? It goes it. Yeah, right. So now the next thing will be I want to insert from the third position now. So we basically I want to insert from Y, right? And I want to put MNO right after Y. So from Q I want to put MNO just to be sure that it's not a fluke and it's actually working. Just let's paste it here. So we want to move to the third place, which is number 2. And then we want to insert M, N, and O. Right. Now, if we build this, does it work correctly? Is the question. So yeah, Y is moved here, right? YZ is moved here, and then W, then BC. That's good. Now what I want to do is I want to insert 1, 2, 3 after this YZW, right? Essentially we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 characters. Then this is 7 and this is 8 and this is 9, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So yeah, 9 or 8 will be fine. So we'll just say 8. Yeah, that's again. Yeah, that's right. Let's paste this. So this micro testing is important. Like we write a big piece of code and we don't test it, then it becomes very hard to modify things later on. So maybe it will just start after Y, but let's put 1, 2, and 3 and just see. Because right now it should have this many letters, right? Around 10 characters it should have. So like 8 is a reasonable number. Yes. So with that, if we test this gap buffer, what do we get? Yeah. So this is wrong, right? The second area that we did is wrong. So this is correct, right? So let's see. MNO, this is correct. But then it copied BC at the rate, right? It should not have copied BC at the rate. It should have copied YZW, right? So why it did that? That you need to understand. And that is this part of the code, which is essentially doing the copy, right? So one thing, there was a unknown symbol, right? So you just make -1. That should at least get rid of that unknown character, I guess, or +1. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. So the unknown character is 1. But the problem is we copied BC, right? Uh, we copied BC, but we should have copied YZ, right? We should have started from the gap end, whatever the current gap end is, right? And from that we should have copied the rest. So yeah, so the destination is gap start, that right, but we should have copied from gap end, not this in the SZ, I guess, if that makes any sense. I don't know, but if we build it right, and if we cut it, so now we have X M N O Y Z, right? So this YZ moved here, right? And then we inserted the 1 2 and 3. Yeah. So effectively, except the edge cases where the buffer is full and all this stuff, our gap buffer is, I think, in a good position to work with. Yeah. So one thing I want to get another utility function, which is the current size of the text that it's holding, right? And that will basically be so size the length of the text, right? And the length will first of all be whatever the gap size is, right? So gaps, fill gaps that we can in that many characters add we have, and with that, if we have some character at the end, so maybe gap, hmm, it will be gap buffer size minus gap end, I guess, or maybe -1 or +1, depending on the factor. We can say that. So we have like 1, 2, 3. And then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 characters. So length should return 13. You can check that to be confirmed, right? So yeah, in the letter we can change this print GB to assert, and you can deal with that, right? But if you want to assert, then most likely we should use this thing here as a template. So yeah, we can do that later. For now, I'm happy with this. So just check the length. So when I percentile zero, yes, size it should use 0 GB dot. I'm not sure. Don't always remember syntax because in my work I usually use Python or sometimes Java, which I don't like at all. Like in few occasions, I've used Rust in my work, but mostly my work in my daily work, I work with Python. But in some cases, JavaScript, but that's it. I don't write C in my C or C++ in my daily work. But let's see if this is 13 or not. That is a more important question, right? So if I now close this thing, right? This is actually opening, but I'm not showing. Yeah, so we got 13. So the length is working good. Probably put a \n here, and we can probably change this to assert at some point of time. But this essentially shows that whatever our gap buffer thing is working correctly. So what I will do actually, I'll just quickly create a file. called yeah, buffer test.hpp, right? It will basically uh, include gap buffer. So it's source, right? So it should be able to open the file name is text edit, and we can say that okay, mm, this is going to paste this stuff out and just put this thing, paste this thing here, and we can include std file. Right? We can make one static to get rid of these wordings. So now if we need to do the test, we can just include this file and keep on doing the test. Right? So yeah, that's it. Um yeah, but we will be doing steps later. For now at least I have something to do. Right? So the next thing is like taking the keys and putting it into the gap buffer, right? So we are currently opening this file, right? This main.cpp, and we are printing it in our text editor. From here we are opening this file source slash main.cpp. But instead of this, we should be opening something like yeah, uh, let's have an example folder, and there let's say test.txt for now. This is the file that we'll be working on, right? So open existing file. For that, the file needs to be existing. So we can just make the file exist actually. So we can say we have example folder, and inside that example folder, we have a file called test.txt, right? So inside example folder, we now have text.txt. That's good. And we can open this file. This file will be empty. Right? If we just run this, we should see an empty screen like that. And now this gap buffer, right? Not this file, but the actual text edit.hpp, this file. I'm horrible at naming things that I have to work on. But now that I have this gap buffer right here, we can have our actual text edit class, right? So maybe struct text edit, right? We can name something else. For now, I'm not concerned about the names. Right? So in this text edit, right, what we essentially want to do is we want to have a vector, right? This will be a vector of the gap buffers. We call this buffer or insert box, which will essentially be empty. Now we can have an init function which will take a file maybe. So const star file, and with this file, what we can do is we can first try to open it using this open existing file thing. I think I had some utility function which basically opens a file and loads it as a string. We can just use that. So it will be like something like that, maybe this thing, right? So in utils, I should have something like uh, load file as string, right? Which takes the file path and the length, right? So, and right now, let's do that. And test edit will have also like the current cursor position, right? So, size the cursor, which is basically at 0. Right? Now we can load this thing as a string. So for that, I think we first need to include string. Or no, basically these utils will have string inside it. Because we have utils, we can remove this thing as well. We can just like something like this, I guess, which is reasonably fine, right? And yeah, so now here we can say release string, uh, whatever text I have loaded, right? And size text length, right? And we can pass those values here, right? So whatever the file is, that is here. So you can just say file, right? Not file path, but file. The second thing will be basically the length of the text, right? So text length. Right? I should call this txt length because the other thing is txt, right? So this should give me the like, basically loaded, right? And now I can create gap buffers out of this loaded string, right? So, so essentially, what we'll do is we will loop to this text length and we'll instantiate the buffers, right? So let's just do that. And whenever like we need to add some new data, as because the files will be full, right? So what we will do is from that point we can just insert a new gap buffer in our gap buffers, an empty gap buffer, and we can start writing there. That is one way. Other I will see that. Yeah. For now, for let's say size, right, yeah. So for size t I is equals to c then I is less than x t then I plus equals to gap buffer size, right? And for this, just go one scale down so that I have some space to see. And also, yeah, today I forgot to get the ambience on. Yeah, now it looks good, I guess. So yeah, what I should do, I think, is we should just create gap buffers, right? So first we will create buff or pushback, right? We will essentially push new gap buffer, right? So yeah, so gap buffer field constructor, or we can just say slot in place back. I think this works because our constructor doesn't take any parameter. We don't. We just using default constructor. Then our current buffer, that is on the back, right? We want to flood this buffer with this whole data, right? We can make it a different function in the gap buffer later. But for now, what I just want to do is I will just copy the stuff. So and copy. whatever our buffer is, uh, obviously the address of whatever our buffer is, and then the buffer is there that its buffers start. And so the so first things first, we're incrementing I values, right? So or we can just go through the iterations. Yeah, that will be so. Let's not do it. We'll do it this way, but in a different ways. So sorry, buffers is equals to whatever the text length is. Actually, I don't need to return the length because the string will either get have the length. But we can do that refactoring later, I guess. So for now, we can have this text length by this, and it will tell me like how many full buffers we have, right? So for that many full buffers, what we can do, yeah, this will get to be divided. Right? This will tell me how many full buffers we have, and for that many full buffers, what I essentially want to do is copy the full data from our string. So actually, there's this written as a string. Yeah, one, but yeah, that's fine. What we can do is um, yeah, y data is equal to this text dot. We can optimize things later. Always writing optimized code is, I will not say not possible, but it's meaningless because you keep on changing your decisions in every point of the time. So yeah, we will be copying to this destination, that is our buffer, and we will copy from C. Let's see. C will be like for example, whatever I is times, yeah, buffer size, right? Yeah, and so we can just have like whatever our file data is plus C. From that point, I can start copying because file data is just characters, so it will be byte oriented. And for every data I want to copy, will get buffer size, right? Now I can do that with a for loop, simple for loop. But the thing is that the system has better ways implemented in name copy. You can even like implement a faster version of name copy using, like, the last time when I was in college, one day I was trying to like write the fastest name copy possible without going to GPU. So what I did is I was using the intrinsic functions to like use the like vectors. I mean, what I mean by vector is that there are registers in your CPU which are like 512 bytes size, and you can just put the whole data, or like 256 bytes. So you can take the whole data and you can put in those registers. So you are effectively copying like, I don't know, 256 divided by 8 or something like 256 bytes means 256 characters at a single time. What 256? That's like 58 bits, I think. So it will be like 256 divided by 8, whatever that value is. So yeah, that many. So it will be much more like 32 characters or 16 characters at a time. Kind of thing. Yeah. So not going into that. Now now we are at a stage where we just want to copy the last part, right? So let's just copy and mem copy here. Let's just put it here for now. And what we want to do is obviously in the buffer, we can just keep on incrementing the offset as well. I know, in fact, that whatever the uh, I equals to 0, I is less than 15, I plus equals to gap buffer. So if I'm doing it in this way, right? I have n buffs, right? So this should be I is less than, and this will be I plus plus, I guess. Yeah. So now we know that we have copied n buffs, right? So this is nothing but like you can say whatever the file data is plus our offset, where the offset is nothing but our n buffs times the size, right? There will be some action there, but right now I'm not worried about it. So yeah, gap size. So this many bytes we have already copied, right? We want to copy from there to the rest of the file. So yeah, mm, this will be offset, and the last parameter will actually be um, yeah, that's fine. It will be like txt len modulus, yeah, for precise, something like that, right? No, why is it trying? B is not declared, obviously, because B is always just the last buffer which was added, right? And we need to implement back as well, right? And we can have this variable stored. So if we don't need, we will not put any other buffers there. So this will be like I don't know, we call this size for now. This it. So yeah. So basically, this state is equals to this whole thing, right? Then I can say if this check, then we want to do this stuff, right? And we want to copy as reference. Otherwise, we don't want to create a new buffer or to do anything of that sort. Because we need to add a new. Okay, it's already there. Let's just format the file a bit. Yeah, so the file is formatted now. This should effectively create our instantiate our gap buffer, right? Like our text edit, right? And essentially, we can ask, our editor can ask that, okay, just give me this file, like give me from this cursor position or whatever until this cursor position, and that chunk I'll be rendering, right? So that's one way to think of it, right? So most likely I would like to get I would call this like something like void Okay, can I ask a question? Should I begin learn programming for fun? Yeah, man, it's fun. I started learning programming for fun when I was I had done my boards. Then unfortunately read I took admission into computer science and it became my life. But programming is fun. It allows you to think of things. It allows you to feel like a creator. You are creating things, and also it allows you to like develop your logical skills, your thinking capability, your mental visual imaging, all these things. It helps improve those aspects of like your like you can think of like if you are a game character, then it helps you level up those aspects of your stats. Yeah, it's fun, and you can make cool stuff. You can make games. You can make whatever you want, right? And it's not necessary that you need to know maths and all these stuffs, right? You can maybe do some web programming if you want to like play with graphic, like a simple website graphics, or maybe you want to like do some small apps. You can start looking like desktop apps. You can start looking into C sharp, .NET, that kind of thing. There are a lot of things. You just start somewhere and you go from there, right? So yeah, you can now you have chat gpt copilot all these things. So yeah, it makes very easy for your life to actually learn coding right now. Like the lack of resource, that thing is gone. Like when I was a kid, one of the biggest thing was finding a solution. We went to Stack Overflow, you went to here and there and there, and it was very hard. But nowadays it's not that hard because whatever you want to learn, whether it's quantum mechanics or anything, just ask ChatGPT to explain it to you, like it would be explaining to a not kindergarten, but like high school kid. And then you're good to go. Learning things. Learning things is always fun. It improves your character, I guess. So yeah, apart from that, what I actually want to like get view or something like that, which will basically be a string. Maybe later we can convert it into like a vector of string views. We can see that. We can check that later. For now, I'm just returning a string. We can always refactor things and make them more fast. So std string with the get view, right? And view will basically take like from which position to which position, or like from which cursor point to which cursor point you want your data to be. That's what basically get view does. And we'll keep on modifying this logic and this logic as well, so that this acts as the data structure for our files. For every file, actually, this it makes more sense to call this as text file buffer underscore t or something like that. Yeah, that name sounds a bit cool. Yeah, and I just don't want to type a lot of stuff. That's why I'm doing it like this, like all in header files in this kind of manner where I have this in extension. It's nothing wrong with it. You like in this world you will find a lot of people who will say that this way is right, this way is wrong. Whether you are doing some programming stuff, whether you are like doing some drawing or learning to do music, but don't listen to them. And honestly, everything is the right way. As long as you are having fun, as long as you are progressing, as long as you are learning, as long as you are producing something, all that's all that matters, right? So yeah. So in that view, we will basically take like from where to where I want to get. So maybe the beginning and the end. So yeah, BNE is good for now. Yeah. So we'll have basically a string. which is we are going to return. So view data, something like that. And when we return the view data, right? And now the important thing is getting that view data, right? And being able to show that. I think that is where I will end this stream today. Do I have some time? Yeah, I have to call my mother. Actually, I have to end the stream because I have to call my mother. It's 9:30 almost here. I usually call my mother at 9. So yeah, I will be ending the stream here today. But yeah, mm, I will continue working on this. This will be like this will, and I'll try to increase the frequency. Next month it will be hard because my mother is coming from West Bengal to here at my house. So yeah, next month I will not be streaming that much. But after that, if I don't have much, like if I have moderate amount of office work and I have time, I will keep on streaming. So these projects I have taken with a long-term goal. So I'm not worrying about like I will get this much done this time. I know that within 4 or 5 months I will have a pretty good editor with syntax highlighting and everything. Yeah. And that's where the second project that I will start from the next stream. Maybe after I have a conversation with my mom and have some dinner, I can start with that stream a bit, which will basically be programming language. And one of the reason is that we can copy some codes from there, uh, and we can use that here for like the lecture and the other parts when needed. And it will save us some time implementing those things when we are doing like syntax highlighting or like searching auto like intelligence and those kind of things. Yeah, so being able to like parse files is also very important. Yeah, we can look into that later. For now, we have this string view, and we want from begin to end. But the problem is, right now I have to call my mother, so I'll end this stream right here. Maybe I'll just get this fixed a bit, and yeah, but as soon as I get like a basic version of this working, I will do one refactor stream. After that, I will be I'll just give you the GitHub repo, so you will be able to like check things out. Okay. By no means this is how you write code for someone to read in production. So yeah, this is not how you write things. But yeah, well, that's fine. It's- So I'll be ending the stream for today. Hope you enjoyed this session. I'll do some maybe offline work and get these things done, or I might do things online as well. I don't know. But yeah, in the next stream, we will not be working on this text editor. That's for sure. We will be working on a language, but we'll have this text editor stream going on, and most of the like code changes that I will be doing in this text editor will be in this. Will be like I will be streaming those things. So yeah, if you really want to see a person struggle hard to make a complete text editing software, then yeah, you see me like suffer a lot in the upcoming months, right? When I do this one. So the way I'm thinking is that for now, one stream will be for this project, and one stream will be on the next on creating a programming language from scratch. So yeah, the next stream will be creating a programming language from scratch. Then I will come back to this one stream, and we'll do that for a few sessions. Then that programming language will have like two streams, and this one will have one stream. So like that we will continue. Yeah, thank you guys. Hope you have enjoyed this session. And yeah, today, bye and have a nice day or have a nice next day, depending on your time zone. So yeah, bye and see you next time.